Hey guys, Al Perhax, and I got so many requests on the email that I sent yesterday on superpowers. Right? What are your superpowers? And I thought I would take a few minutes and go into it because this is really an important thing that you need to understand, and you need to, you want to step into a new and more powerful version of yourself. No, actually scratch that. You want to step in to the most powerful version of yourself. Okay. Now, there's many ways to get there. And I'm going to talk to you this week about a new, we'll call it a monthly program. I call it the Control Panel because it's designed to give you, I don't want to say back your power because you probably already have some power, but maybe give you full power, right? And that's kind of the superpower. In fact, I got to the point where I started, when I would interview people for positions, I would ask them, what's your superpower? What is it that you can do that you feel that you're better than most people, right? That's kind of a superpower. And the superpower directly relates to your confidence as well as your self-image. Okay? So confidence is very simply the understanding that you can pull something off, right? That you can do something successfully. And as I've always said, it could be anything, right? It could be computer programming, it could be woodworking, it could be cooking, it could be cleaning, it could be yard work, it could be electrician, doing electrical work. It could be a doctor, working on brains, brain surgeon, right? So there's a lot of martial artists, right? So that's confidence. You know that you can do something based on probably repetition, flight time, doing it over and over again, right? And then self-image is really how you view yourself. For example, you can be extremely confident with things, but your self-image could be extremely low. And we find this with actors. We do find it with athletes as well. Athlete can be extremely proficient in their craft, and yet the self-image is lacking, right? And that so you gotta try to get them together so that you're more complete, right? That's stepping into a new and more powerful version of yourself, right? And it all comes down to this superpower, right? So Michael Jordan, if you haven't seen the new Michael Jordan movie that's on Netflix, The Last Dance, you should watch it. Because what you're going to learn in that program, I think it's 6-episode series, you get to learn what a real winner is like, right? And not just Michael Jordan, but the coaches and some of the other key players. They're all winners, right? That means that they have this intense ability to focus. They have superpowers, right? Michael Jordan has a superpower. Scottie Pippen, right? They all have this superpower. The coach has a superpower, being able to relate to the players, right? And so I brought up my superpower, and I got a lot of comments about it, and say that some people said, well, that's not really that much of a superpower. Well, that's my main superpower, but I've got all these other sub superpowers, if you will, right? And I want to go back a little bit and tell you some, if you don't mind, story time a little bit, right? And share with you kind of, my mindset when I first started getting into this. Let me go grab a bottle of water. I'm going to be right back. My fridge is right over there. So today it was super hot, and I'm just trying to replenish my fluids and make sure that I can, stay hydrated, right? So you've got these superpowers, right? I talked about immersion. So anyway, I get started on this stuff. And this is the way I've been with almost my entire life. I would say my entire life. Because when I got into bodybuilding when I was 16 or 17 years old, I wanted to know everything I could about it. And I'm going to be honest with you. I wasn't the best bodybuilder in the world by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think I had the genetics for it. You need to have certain genetic markers that allow you to build an amazing amount of muscle by working out, by dieting, by even using supplements like steroids, right? Steroids work on certain people in certain ways. For instance, I had friends of mine that took steroids, and some got better results than others. And it all comes down to this concept of what is your superpower, right? And it comes back to the immersion. So when I was bodybuilding, I became immersed into it. I mean, I was buying magazines all the time. I was, reading about bodybuilding. I was learning, everything I could. I was finding out who the players were in this sport. This is back in the late 70s, early 80s. And I had a dream. I had a dream to go to California and train with the top bodybuilders of that time. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Franco Columbu, Tom Platz, Mike Menser, whoever, right? And when I was 19 years old, I went to California for the summer. I saved up my money. Now, I want you to focus on this because this is, again, 19 years old, and I've got a goal to go to California. I'm going to immerse myself into this goal. And that immersion is that I have to save up the money because it's not like my parents were giving me the money. They said, you want to go to California, son? You better save up for it because we're not paying any of your flight or anything. So here I am, 19. If I want to go to California, I got to do it myself. Now, this is back in the early 80s. There was no jobs that you made a lot of money at. I mean, people complain about the minimum wage now, but I got to tell you, back then, I think you were far worse off, right? Minimum wage is not a living wage, but I think I was making $3 an hour or something like that. So it took me a long time to pay for my $400 flight, which incidentally, you can get flights to California for about the same today, right? So to me, the income, it was a lot less than what you'd have to do today to get a flight to California, right? So I save up, but it's not just saving up. It's discipline and it's denying myself because I got to scrimp and save every single penny that I can. When my friends are going out on the weekends, I'm not going. At the same time, I'm bodybuilding and I'm dieting. But my thing is, I'm going to save. I'm going on this trip. So what was the first thing I needed to do to go on a trip? Is book the ticket, right? Book the ticket, right? I'm going to California. Now, the initial plan was I was meeting friends out there from Pittsburgh. I lived in New Jersey. And I was going to meet them. We were going to stay there and, have a great time. We were good friends. By the time I get out there, though, these two guys, they can't really even stand each other anymore. They've been living together for 30 days. And they don't like each other. And the day that I get there, my one friend says, I'm out of here in a couple days. And then the other dude is like, totally off the reservation. He doesn't know what he wants to do. And so at the end of the first week, let me adjust my thing here that I just knocked over. After the end of the first week, my one friend is going back to Pittsburgh. My other friend is going to San Diego to stay with his uncle. So at the end of the first week, I'm supposed to be there entire summer. My friends are, gone. And I've got some money. And I'm in California. I'm 19 years old. How many of you would let your 19-year-old son or daughter go 3,000 miles on their own? I don't think I would want my kids to do that. But that's what I did. And I was pretty confident of myself, taking care of myself. And I only have a certain amount of money. And I'm expecting to split it 3 ways. And so here I am in a situation where I've got to either adapt or just fly back to New Jersey. I adapted. I immersed myself in what I could do to get done to make it the best situation that I possibly could. So again, it was one of my superpowers to be able to adapt to certain situations and be able to roll with the punches, right? It didn't end up being the situation I thought it was going to be, right? I thought it was going to be my two buddies that I've known my entire life just about. But after the first week, it wasn't that at all, right? And after the first week, I actually met a French-Canadian guy, and he and I roomed for a couple weeks, right? But that's how it was. You do what you have to do under those extreme circumstances. Now, I didn't tell my parents all that because they would have said, get back on a flight, come home, right? Don't stick around there because, California's kind of crazy. And I was living in Santa Monica, Venice area. So the thing is that, again, it's immersion. You adapt to get in. Now I'm going to roll ahead a couple years when I got into martial arts. Now, when I got into martial arts, again, I get into martial arts, and before I get into martial arts, I say, okay, what do I really want to learn? Okay, see all these schools in the area. But what do I want to learn? I come up with the concept in my own head. I want to learn self-defense. That's the martial art that I want. I don't know what it is, but that's my primary focus. I want to learn self-defense. And so that's my main criteria to the martial arts, is I want to learn defense, self-defense. Everything else, if it's katas, if it's flashy, I don't care about it. I want to learn self-defense, self-preservation. And so that's how I selected the first martial art that I did, which was Chinese Kempo. And then I morphed into Jiu-Jitsu as well as Jeet Kune Do. And over the time that I was involved in the martial arts, which I still am, but those first couple years, I immersed myself into martial arts. I bought every magazine. I got as many videos as I could get. And I learned all the different arts. The only arts that I did not study were, I would say, hardstyle karate from Japan and the Korean arts. I didn't really get into any of the Korean arts, but I studied all the jiu-jitsus, the aikidos, the pencak silats, the kung taos, the kung fu, the Chinese Kempo, the JKD, which was created by Bruce Lee, was Jeet Kune Do, right? It's really the way of no way, which means you can move on a dime if you need to in order to reroute, okay? That gave me the mindset as I'm going through this journey, right? So I get into this, I'm doing the martial arts for many years, and so finally I get to this thing where there's this thing called Chi, and I go, man, I don't believe in that garbage. But then I meet a guy through the miracle of video, doing different types of energetic strikes, and I think, man, this guy, that seems pretty cool. I find this guy's number. Now, again, this is back in the early 90s. There's no internet. I can't look somebody up. I'm seeing an ad in a magazine, and I've got this video that this guy sent me, and I call him up, and we develop a relationship, and I start to learn. But let me just tell you how I immerse myself, just like I did with the bodybuilding, just like I did with the martial arts. Now I'm going to do it with this chi practice, this energetic thing, which I'm not even convinced it's real, but I'm going to focus on it, right? And so I start studying with this guy. And then I think, okay, if I'm going to learn chi, I want to know everything about it. So I take my mindset from this one article, one ad, one video that I watch, and I open up and I start immersing myself into anything that has to do with chi. And I go to the library. Again, there's no internet at the time. I'm going to the library. I'm going and I'm looking everywhere I can to find anything I can about chi. And I start learning from people. And I will drive anywhere I can to meet somebody. And some of those people helped me a lot. Some of them, it was garbage. But I learned something from everyone. But again, I'm immersing myself. And within a very short period of time, I got very good. Why did I get very good? It was because, number one, I kept an open mind. And number two, I immersed myself into the concept of energy, chi, right? You want to call it vital energy, call it whatever you want, right? Now, as I'm getting involved in that, I'm studying with multiple people. And I'm telling all of the people that I'm training with that I'm talking to these other people. I'm looking at these other people. This is how I got additional training, because I didn't have any money. So I would train with this guy over here, and I would say, hey, I'm going to train with this other guy this weekend. And he goes, man, I'd love to know what that guy's doing. I'll tell you what, I'll let you know, man. If I can videotape it, I will. And so I would train with a half a dozen guys, and they were all teaching me all this stuff. And I would kind of trade the techniques back and forth. That's how I got more training. I didn't have money, right? Videotapes, trade videotape and teach me this one technique or teach me this. Immerse, right? How many different types of breathing techniques are there, right? I'm going to learn all the breathing techniques, and I'm going to decide how they all fit together. That's what I would do, right? All the different meditations, all the different standing postures, all the different energetic flow patterns, right? I'm learning it from multiple people, right? There's a couple people that I'm mainly with, but for the most part, I'm open. If there's a guy over town here that has a technique or concept that I think is beneficial, I'm going to go learn it. And if it works, I'm going to adhere to it. I'm going to use it. There's no reason not to, right? You use what's useful. You're always emptying your cup, right? That's what Bruce Lee said, is that you're always keeping your cup empty so that you can add more. And that's what I did. The point is that is, I believe, my superpower, in the sense that I learned to adapt and immerse myself in order to learn something at a rapid pace. For instance, am I the best person at manipulating with chi energy? Probably not, right? Am I the best person at hypnotic influence? Probably not. Am I the best person with psychic influence? Probably not. Am I the best person to do, let's say, esoteric meditations like astral projection, out of body? Probably not. However, I've done all those things, and I'm proficient because I've immersed myself into the curriculum. I've also learned how to teach people that are different than me how to get there faster than I got there. Key. That's a key, right? There's a lot of things that you might take away from this video, but the number one thing is you want to learn from somebody who can teach you how to get there. It doesn't matter if I can do it, right? I mean, who cares if I can do something? And that's what I always said to guys I would learn from. I'd say, yeah, that's great, you can do that. But if you can't teach me, I don't really care. I don't care if you can levitate across the room, you could fly through the sky. I don't care. If you can't teach me, it doesn't mean anything to me. It's nonsense, right? That's a superpower, right? And the reason I brought this superpower thing up is that I'm going to be launching a new program that's going to be a monthly program. Now, if you're part of the inner circle, you're automatically going to get this. And it's going to be a different meditation, a different hypnotic protocol every single month that you can use to access your power in a greater way. It's what I call the control panel. The reason I did this is because I thought back and said, what did I do back in those days to make me as good as I could get, right? And that's what I did, is I was constantly doing different meditations, trying different things out. And by doing so, you learn to learn at a higher and more rapid rate. So you actually increase your intelligence and your ability to learn that much quicker. And that's really the idea of having a control panel, is having a control panel that you control, that you can determine outcomes. And I'm going to teach you things like there's going to be a healing, vitality, meditation, daily immunity exercises, what I call the Chi Power Shield, Quantum Chi Doorway. I mentioned to you about U 2.0, how to create that new version of yourself, right? The confidence dial exercise, a field of dreams meditation, and then opening the lucid or astral door, teaching you how to do that and become proficient at it really quickly. Okay. Third eye acceleration exercise, instant money magnification and manifestation, as well as the money tree exercise. These are all things that you're going to get access to with this program that I believe is a game changer. And I'm going to make it available that everybody's going to be able to get access to it. So I'm going to make it reasonably inexpensive that anyone that wants to go down this path can do it. Now, like I said, if you're already part of the inner circle, you're going to get this. And I believe it's going to be fantastic for you because it's just adding on to what you're already getting. And again, immerse. If there's anything that I could encourage you to do, it's if you want to get good at something, you immerse yourself into that. Now, I didn't think this was going to go that long. I've been on over 20 minutes. But I thought it was important you kind of have that understanding of where I was way back when, so that you can see the perspective of where I'm at now and understand that I use these very same principles every single time. And if there's, and I did the same thing with technology. I did the same thing with business. I did the same thing with marketing. I did the same thing with advertising. I did the same thing that I'm telling you right now in everything that I've gotten good at. When I was looking to advertise online back in 2001, first time I ever advertised online was 2001. First dollar ever spent online. And it was scary. I didn't have a lot of money. I think I was unemployed at the time, in fact. And I wanted to make money online. And so again, I bought a course. I immersed myself in it. I put in the flight time. I got really good at it. And it launched my entire business, what you're seeing here today. Okay. But it took that immersion. Again, and that was something that I didn't know anything about. But again, I immersed myself into it and got really good. Technology, the same thing. I wasn't a technologist. I didn't go to school for computers. But I realized that if I wanted to get good, I would need to discipline and immerse myself in the technology and learn it as quickly as possible. I started back in the day building websites, and people would say, how in the world are you building these things so fast? And to me, it was simple because I just said, I found the easiest way to do it, whatever that was at the time, right? Some of it was coding, some of it was copying. There's a lot of stuff I did. Now, here's the other thing, is I would do this, and I'm using this technology as an example, and then I'm gonna go, is I would figure out a way to do it. And I would probably get about 70% of the way it should look. And I mentioned that in the email. I got about 70% of the way there, maybe 80%. And then I would find somebody that could take it the other 20%. So I would build a website and it would look kind of good, right? And then I'd find somebody that could help me and they would make it look really good. And then I would learn from that person, how did they make it look really good so that I can make it look really good next time, you see? So I didn't just say, okay, I'm just going to be good at this. I said, I'm going to be good at the whole thing. Now, the reason I did that is because then as I trained people in business, as they got better, smarter, I was smart because I already knew how to do it all. Now, I wasn't probably as good as any of the people that I hired, but I knew enough to be able to direct them. And that's a key differentiator between what most people do. You know, it's not becoming a jack of all trades and master of none, but it's understanding processes so that you can get better at it and you can help others to get better at it. That's really the key concept here with this immersion, with this superpower concept. So I'd like you to, if you want to share with me, it'd be fine, is what is your superpower? What is it that you do? Think about it. And then as we go over the next couple days, I'm going to give you some more cool things that you can use to understand why this whole control panel concept is really something that should resonate with you. Because if you really want to step into that most powerful version of yourself, this is the best way to start it. Thanks for watching. I've enjoyed sharing this information with you. I hope you enjoyed it, and have a fantastic day. So long.